On tap, Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout. Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today we are sampling the ballsiest canned beer in the world, Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout from the Wynkoop Brewing Company in Denver, Colorado. The brewery was opened in 1988 and claims to be Colorado's first brew pub and Denver's first craft brewery. This beer started as an April Fool's joke that the brewery posted on YouTube. Let's see a clip.
Wynkoop Brewing Company's Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout is made with organic Colorado malts, front-range hops, Rocky Mountain water, and bull testicles from free-range Colorado cattle.
We're adding the Rocky Mountain oysters whole into the kettle to give the full flavor and nuances into the beer.
When making this style of beer, it's important you use the freshest ingredients possible, and these testicles, they're very fresh.
Half the people thought it was a hilarious joke, the other half wanted to taste the beer. So the brewery decided to brew up some stout with 3 BPBs. That's balls per barrel, according to the brewery. It is brewed in small 8-barrel batches, and each batch contains 25 pounds of freshly sliced and roasted bull testicles. This is a foreign-style stout with 7.5% ABV. They use Styrian Golding hops. It is the only beer that I know of that is sold in a 2-pack of cans. The brewery says it has notes of roasted barley, coffee, and nuts. The guys on the panel have no idea that this beer has bull testicles in it, so we can find out if this is actually a good beer or just a brilliant piece of marketing. Let the blind taste test begin. Chef,
yeah.
What are your overall impressions of this beer?
I mean, it's it's definitely a dark, it's a stout. There is some good flavor to it. It's got a coffee flavor, a little bit of kind of like a dried fruit kind of flavor, like a raisiny kind of flavor to it. But the flavor doesn't hang out for as long as I would normally look for it to hang out. I mean, I like a little bit more creaminess so that it's got a little bit more mouthfeel and sticks with you a little bit more. But I mean, it's a decent drinkable beer. So
yeah, Joby, would you guess this is kind of a stronger beer, more sessionable? Do you have an ABV in mind?
I don't know. I'm not very good with ABV. I'd probably go 6.5 to 7. If it is high ABV, it's masked very well. Like Chef was saying, I think it's very smooth. It's a very smooth stout, and I think there's something in there that kind of, doesn't make it over the top coffee or over the top chocolate. It kind of like mellows it out. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it might be like an oatmeal stout type beer.
I don't think that with the oatmeal stout, I would think normally with oatmeal stouts I would get more of a creaminess of it, but and I don't get that from the because that's what I was thinking. It's like it's not quite a coffee stout. There might be a little bit of chocolate note to it, but I don't think oatmeal stout just because of that lack of creaminess.
Okay. What are your first impressions of this beer?
When I sat down and took my first sip, it was a little bit cooler. I've kind of been cupping it since then. Yeah, but so when it was cooler, I got a lot of just roast and coffee, and as it's warmed up, I get a lot more flavors kind of peeking out a little bit. Get a little bit of kind of a fruitiness to it. But like Chef was saying, it's got a pretty short finish. It's not a stout that really hangs around and lingers for a really prolonged period.
Yeah. Do you think this is where do you think the alcohol level is on this? You don't have to guess the number if you don't.
I mean,
want,
I think the alcohol in this is it's not as high as some of the Russian monsters that we've done, but it's definitely higher than like a dry stout. I would say that. I would guess Joby's probably pretty close in the kind of 6 to 7.5 or so.
Okay, let's get some ratings, Chef, and why?
I'm going to go with a 6 on this. I think that I like this beer. But again, that lack of flavor, that lack of finish to it, you know, I wish it would hang out, the flavor would hang out a little bit more. I think you know, there are good flavors. As it warms up, you get more of that fruit kind of note to it. But I think that, you know, again, if that flavor hung out for a little bit longer, I would enjoy it a little bit more.
Joby?
I'm gonna go with a 7, James. I like this beer. You know, I think the way it melds together and it's not overpowering one way or the other makes it very drinkable, and I enjoy it about that. You know, if you don't really love the strong coffee or the strong chocolate, this is a stout you would want to go for. I could see this, you know, kind of being a semi-gateway beer for people into stout beers if they're, you know, looking for something in that, just because it doesn't have that overpowering one way or the other. It's kind of, you know, easy drinking, mellow, smooth beer.
Okay. Ryan?
I'm at an 8 on this one. You know, I do like this beer, and I think I like it for some of the reasons that you don't like it as much. I mean, for me, and I do love the, you know, the big, intense stouts that have the high alcohol and the high flavor and character that does last. But, you know, within the realm of stouts, you know, I'm also appreciating this one because it finishes, you know, relatively simply, and there's nothing really hanging around that's off-putting. It's got a nice, easy finish on it, and it's one that, you know, for a lot of people that are drinking stouts, they kind of picture stouts as something that they're drinking, you know, end of the night, cold weather sort of thing. Whereas you know, with the nice easy finish on this one, I could see drinking this one, drinking several of these and drinking them anytime. Yeah.
Right.
But I guess with that aspect, I mean, definitely versus other beers, you know, other stouts, you know, you're going to drink one stout, and that's what I guess that's what I think of when I'm drinking a nice stout. I'm going to drink one, you know, and it's just jam packed full of flavor, and I don't need to have another one. With this one, I could see drinking multiple of. Which, I mean, I guess from the brewery standpoint is probably, that makes them happy. But, you know, from my standpoint, if I'm only going to drink one beer, you know, this is probably not going to be on the top of my list.
Well, I don't usually normally say anything, but I freaking love this beer. I think it tastes great. I give it a 9. I love it. I'm just going to say,
there you go.
I'm totally impressed. I didn't know what to expect. I will reveal the beer now. I don't know if you guys have heard of this one, the Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout from Wynkoop Brewing Company in Denver, Colorado. Made with bull testicles is the secret ingredient. 3 BPB, that's balls per barrel.
Nice.
So if you couldn't quite put your finger on it, Joby, that's because you probably haven't had a bull testicle stout before.
Little do you know.
You couldn't quite put your tongue on it.
Usually you skip straight to the testicles.
That's right.
Skip the stout.
Love the nuts.
So it's 7.5%, so you guys are right in there. Could you see yourself drinking this again, Ryan?
I wouldn't have, you know, if someone, you know, offered me a stout that had been teabagged with bull testicles. You know, without having had it, you know, in the blind format, I don't know if it's, you know, it's one that I'd heard of, and it's kind of one of those. I mean, it started out as a joke, right?
Right, as a YouTube video.
So, I mean, I don't know if I would have gone out of my way to try it other than just for the novelty of being able to say I had bull testicle beer.
Right.
But
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, knowing that there are bull testicles in the beer, I mean, it's.
I've never had.
I mean,
Chef?
Yes, I've had Rocky Mountain oysters, and I mean, they're good. They're actually pretty tasty. I mean, it's for testicles. The bull testicles are going to be the one.
What is your least favorite testicles?
Well, James, yours are a little bit shriveled, but Joby's are pretty good.
Nice and salty.
Yeah, no, but I've had Rocky Mountain oysters. I mean, and it kind of makes sense, but you don't get any of that. You know, even from a Rocky Mountain oyster, they threw in a couple of bull testicles as a gimmick. I mean, you know. it doesn't taste like bull testicles. It doesn't have that same flavor of bull testicles. You don't get any meaty flavor or anything like that. Bull testicles have a meatiness to them. You know what I'm saying? Like so I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I think this is just a solid stout.
Yeah.
I think the bull testicles are just a gimmick. You know.
Yeah.
I would be interested to have the stout just as it is without, just to see if there are any
neutered.
Well, I'm just glad they didn't add
any neutered stouts out there.
I'm just glad they didn't add lactose to it and make it a cream stout.
Rocky Mountain Oyster Cream Stout. Yum yum.
Oh yeah, maybe they could have a special edition, the Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout neutered edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I've been out to Wynkoop and it's a very fun brewery, and I mean this fits par for the course of how they do things out there at Wynkoop. I mean, they like to have fun with beers, and I think they have some enjoyable beers.
Yeah, I mean the guy that started it was the mayor of Denver. Is he I think he's the governor now.
Colorado governor.
Yeah, but yeah, and I know he's given talks at different conferences and beer conferences, stuff like that, and
so
seems like a very interesting guy.
Do you guys think people should go out of their way to try this beer, or is it not worth the effort?
Here's my take on this. Beer nerds, big beer people aren't going to like this beer. It's not big enough. It's not bold enough. It's not, masked blindly. It's just an all right beer. But I mean, Joe Sixpack off the street is going to say, "Oh, this one's got bull testicles with it." They're going to like it. I mean,
it's got to be Joe 2-pack.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It comes in 2-packs.
2-pack. That makes sense. That's interesting. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think the big beer guys out there are going to do flips over this by any means.
I think, but I agree with Joby. I mean, your typical Joe 6-pack. This would be a fun beer to bring to a party with some friends. Hey man, you guys want to have some testicle beer? Let's go. I think that that attracts that type of people, and with that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
I think it's interesting that the cans are just
it's a silver tin with a sticker on it.
That's because it's only made in really small batches, so they couldn't afford to have special cans printed, so it's easier to get blank cans and put the label on.
Interesting.
So
I like it.
Well,
I like it.
Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout gets a 7.0 on the BBA scale. That's what we think. Have you had this beer? Or do you just like to eat your bull testicles plain? Let us know in the comments section. My name is James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority.